Welcome back to Recap Cinema. Today, we're diving into the dark and gripping origin story of one of the most iconic legends in history, Dracula Untold. This is no ordinary vampire tale. It's a story of sacrifice, betrayal, and the ultimate price of power. The story begins with Vlad III, Prince of Wallachia, known to history as Vlad the Impaler. As a boy, he was taken by the Ottoman Empire as a tribute, ripped from his home and forged into a weapon. The empire trained him to be ruthless, turning the child into a warrior whose cruelty became the stuff of nightmares. But that was the past. Now, Vlad is a ruler, not a soldier. After years of war, his kingdom is at peace. His people prosper under his leadership, and he has built a life with his wife, Myrina, and young son, Ingerus. Yet the scars of his past linger, buried beneath the surface. One fateful day, while exploring the nearby mountains with his soldiers, Vlad discovers something strange. An Ottoman helmet carried downstream by the river. The soldiers track its source to Broken Tooth Mountain, a place no man dares to enter. The air around it is colder, the trees twisted, and the shadows seem alive. Inside the mountain, they find a cave. Vlad's men are slaughtered by an unseen force, their screams echoing in the darkness. Only Vlad survives, escaping with a single truth: a monster lives in that mountain. The tranquility of Vlad's life is shattered when Ottoman envoys arrive at his castle. They come with demands from Sultan Mehmed II, a tribute of 1,000 boys from Transylvania, including Vlad's own son. The Sultan wants to repeat the horrors of Vlad's childhood, tearing children from their families to fuel his war machine. Vlad's heart breaks as he looks at his son. He remembers the pain of being taken, the years of bloodshed, and the loss of innocence. He refuses the tribute, knowing full well the consequences. By defying the Sultan, he has declared war. The Ottoman forces prepare to march, thousands of soldiers ready to crush Vlad's kingdom. Desperate, Vlad turns to the only hope he has left, the monster in the mountain. He ventures alone into the darkness, his footsteps echoing in the cursed cave. The deeper he goes, the heavier the air becomes, as though the mountain itself is alive. In the heart of the cavern, he finds it, an ancient chamber untouched by time, where death and darkness reign. A figure emerges from the shadows. Pale, skeletal, and cloaked in menace, the creature is not a man but something far older. This is the master vampire, a being bound to the cave by an ancient curse. His voice cuts through the silence like a blade, cold and mocking. He knows why Vlad has come. The vampire offers Vlad a choice: power beyond imagining or certain destruction. He presents a chalice filled with his own blood. Drinking it will grant Vlad the strength of a god for 3 days. But if he succumbs to the thirst for human blood, he will remain a vampire for eternity, and the master vampire will be freed. Vlad takes the chalice and drinks. Pain consumes him as the vampire's curse courses through his veins, tearing apart his humanity and remaking him into something inhuman. He collapses, his body writhing as it transforms. When he wakes, the world is sharper, brighter, and alive with sounds and scents he could never perceive before. Returning to his castle, Vlad's newfound power is tested almost immediately. An Ottoman scouting party ambushes him in the forest. Vlad doesn't just fight, he annihilates. Moving faster than the eye can follow, he tears through the soldiers, his strength unstoppable. When the last man falls, Vlad realizes the truth of his curse. He is no longer just a man. But the curse has its price. The thirst for blood gnaws at him, growing stronger with every passing hour. He resists, holding on to the love of his family and the memory of who he once was. As the Ottoman army marches closer, Vlad uses his powers to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. Transforming into a swarm of bats, he wipes out entire battalions, leaving only carnage in his wake. His people, once loyal, begin to fear him. Whispers spread of dark magic and deals with the devil. The Sultan, undeterred, strikes back. During a brutal assault on the castle, Ottoman soldiers breach the gates and capture Ingerus. Vlad fights desperately to save his son, but the boy is dragged away, his cries lost in the chaos. Mehmed takes the child to his camp, knowing this will break Vlad's spirit. In the aftermath, Myrina pleads with Vlad to save their son. The thirst for blood is now unbearable, and the man she loves is disappearing, replaced by the monster he's becoming. But Vlad's resolve is unshaken. He will save Injurus, no matter the cost. He gathers what remains of his forces and prepares for one final battle. Alone, he marches toward the Ottoman camp, his steps heavy with purpose. The night bends to his will, and a storm brews on the horizon. The legend of Dracula is about to be born. Let me know if you'd like me to continue or add anything. This expanded narrative builds momentum and sets the stage for a gripping climax. The Ottoman camp sprawled across the valley, tents illuminated by the glow of countless fires. Soldiers, confident in their numbers, laughed and drank, unaware of the storm gathering beyond the horizon. But they would not remain ignorant for long. The wind howled, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. Vlad approached, alone but not powerless. The thirst clawed at him, relentless, but he harnessed its strength. As the clouds darkened, he called upon his newfound abilities, summoning an army of shadows. The night itself answered his command, and from its depths rose a swarm of bats, their screeches echoing through the mountains. The first strike was silent and devastating. The bats descended like a hurricane, tearing through tents and scattering soldiers. Panic spread through the camp as men shouted orders that went unheard in the chaos. Vlad moved among them like a ghost, striking swiftly and vanishing before they could react. But this was no ordinary battle. In the heart of the camp, Mimd awaited, his soldiers standing guard around Injurus. The boy, bound but defiant, watched as his father approached. Vlad's eyes burned with fury as he stepped into the clearing, the final confrontation between man and monster. Mimd had prepared for this. The Sultan was no fool. He knew the legends of vampires and their weaknesses. He ordered silver coins scattered across the ground, their touch searing Vlad's skin as he stepped forward. The pain was excruciating, but Vlad pressed on, his will unbroken. The two faced each other in the flickering firelight. Mim drew his blade, its edge coated with silver, and lunged. The fight was brutal, every strike a clash of wills. Mim's strength was human, but his cunning and preparation made him a formidable opponent. Vlad, weakened by the silver and the relentless thirst, fought with the desperation of a father. Mimd gained the upper hand, driving Vlad to his knees. But as the Sultan raised his blade for the final blow, Vlad found his strength, not in his curse, but in his love for his son. With a surge of power, he disarmed Mimd and plunged the blade into the Sultan's heart. The camp fell silent as Mimd collapsed. His reign over Transylvania ended in blood. Vlad released Injurus, holding his son close. The boy looked at his father, no longer seeing the man he knew, but something different, something terrifying and beautiful. The battle was over, but the curse was not. As dawn approached, Vlad's people gathered in the ruins of the camp. They looked to him not as their savior, but as a monster. Knowing he could never return to them, Vlad made a choice. He walked into the shadows, allowing them to believe he had died a hero. But Myrina's death marked his true breaking point. During the siege, she had fallen from the castle walls, her life slipping away in his arms. Her final words, a plea to protect their son, haunted him. With nothing left to tether him to humanity, Vlad fully embraced the darkness. He drank human blood, sealing his fate as a vampire. Years turned to centuries. The name Vlad faded into legend, replaced by a darker one, Dracula. In the modern day, a bustling city serves as the backdrop for the final chapter of this tale. Vlad, now immortal, walks among the living, a shadow in a world of light. He encounters a woman who bears an uncanny resemblance to Myrina, a reincarnation, her face sparking memories of love and loss. From a distance, the master vampire watches. Freed from his curse, he moves through the crowd, his eyes fixed on Vlad. He smiles, a chilling reminder that their story is far from over. "Let the games begin," he whispers, his voice carrying through the ages. And so, the legend of Dracula continues, a tale of love, sacrifice, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. That's it for today's recap of Dracula Untold. If you enjoyed this dive into the legend, Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more movie recaps. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows, because sometimes the darkness holds the greatest stories.